Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day today. Welcome back for another video. In the past, we've talked about purpose, what it means, the impact that it can have, and how to discover your unique purpose. And then we began digging into the why behind the purpose. Why is it that you really want to attain that purpose? Why is it so vitally important for you to accomplish that in your life? And then we looked at the gaps that need to be closed that will take you from where you are toward the attainment of your purpose. And we discussed gaps not only from the standpoint of things like what kind of skills do you have to learn, but more importantly, who do you need to become as a person in order to attain the purpose that you set for yourself. Now that we've covered those bases, today I want to talk to you about creating positive energy. And what I mean by that is that we all have to be able to develop and maintain a positive attitude, and we have to be able to radiate positive energy. Now you may say, well, why is that so important? Well, I think it's important for three reasons. Number one, when you have a positive attitude and you're radiating positive energy, it enhances your creativity. We're going to face challenges as we pursue our dreams, as we pursue our purpose. And we need creative energy in order to be able to come up with good solutions to the challenges that we face. The other thing that it does is it empowers you. It gives you that self-confidence to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to find a way. This challenge may be something that I think is a little bit formidable, but I'm going to find a way either to climb over it, walk around it, tunnel underneath it, bust through it. One way or another, I'm going to find a solution. And you don't get that. You don't have that sort of creativity and that empowerment if you're always thinking about, it's not going to work. I can't find a solution to this problem. You need that commitment that only comes from positive thought and positive energy. And finally, I think that radiating positive energy and maintaining a positive attitude helps you make better quality decisions. We all make decisions and we all make mistakes, but making good quality decisions is something that requires good positive thought. Early in my career, the first supervisory position I had was in a manufacturing environment where I was a shop floor supervisor and I was responsible for a couple of hundred people. I worked, though, for a very, very wise man who was the superintendent of the department. And he told me one day, he said, as a frontline supervisor, you're going to make, on average, a decision a minute all day long. And when you're making somewhere between 400 and 500 decisions a day, there's no way on God's green earth that they're all going to be right. But he said, here's the statistics I want you to think about. If you can make 70% of your decisions correct, they're right on target. And he said there's 20% of them that are somewhere in that gray area between right and wrong, but maybe you need to go back and tweak them a little bit. When you discover that something is a little bit off, you can go back and tweak it and make it right. That takes you up to 90%. That leaves 10% of the decisions that you're making that are bad decisions. And he said, as soon as you discover them, go back, apologize if you need to, and if you can, make it right. He said, if as a manager and a leader you can do that, you're doing a great, great job. And so we need to focus on making quality decisions and understanding where we're messing up, where we're off target a little bit, or in some cases, maybe a lot. And when we have a positive attitude and we're radiating positive energy, it creates that awareness in our minds so that we discover things that we may be off target with a little bit much more quickly, and we can go back and fix them before they snowball into other problems. I think the other thing that we need to remember is that positive energy and having a good attitude, while it begins with us, it also means that we need to create an awareness of those around us. Let me tell you a quick story. A number of years ago, I was vice president of operations for a company, and I had a gentleman named Don who worked for me. He was a quality engineer. And Don was one of the most negative people I have ever met in my life. He could find something wrong with even the most positive of situations. And finally one day I sat down and I talked with him and I said, Don, I don't understand. Why is it with you that the glass is never half full? It's always half empty. And he looked at me, and I could see a little smile start to come at the corners of his mouth. And he said, Gary, he said, the glass is not half empty, it's all the way empty. And by the way, I ordered orange juice, not water. All of us are going to face people like that in our lives, especially when we're pursuing a worthwhile purpose. People are going to get negative with us, people are going to push back on us, and we can't let them influence our positive energy and our positive attitude and approach to life. Zig Ziglar once said that out of every 100 people you meet, 80 are nice, 19 are difficult, and 1 is impossible. There's one person out of every 100 who you can't get along with no matter what you do. And so he said, you got 1 of 2 choices. If you can, leave them alone a lot. But if you're in a situation where you have to be around them, you have to work with them, you have to associate with them, at least envision them standing there in their red underwear, and it'll help you maintain your sense of humor. So that's the whole idea behind attitude and energy and the impact that it can have. But how do we go about developing and maintaining a positive attitude? How do we go about radiating that positive energy? Well, consider some of these things. Number 1, look for the good in every situation. There is no situation that's 100% bad. And if you can find and dwell on the positive, it'll again reinforce that positive creativity that'll help you deal with the rest of that situation. Number 2, don't let fear control you. I talk about fear as an acronym, false evidence appearing real. But in reality, when we look at fear, most people think of fear as negative, when fear is in fact neutral. Fear is neither positive nor negative. That really should come home to you. Fear is neutral. How we interpret fear, how we respond to fear, is what really determines whether it's positive or negative. Because if we let fear control us, if we let it paralyze us, then it's decidedly negative. But if we learn to look at fear and take action in spite of it, then there are lessons that we can learn, we move forward, and we get stronger emotionally and mentally in being able to deal with the fears in our lives. Number 3, become an optimistic realist. I know people who are just 100% pessimistic. They see no good in anything. But on the opposite end of that spectrum, I see people who have their rose-colored glasses on and all they see is the positive in life. And neither one of those extremes is good. I think that we have to be optimistic realists. And what I mean by that is always look at the positive side of things, but realize that life is what it is. Look at life realistically and understand what's going on, and then take a positive approach to how you deal with those circumstances. Number 4, be hopeful. Have a positive outlook and be hopeful about what the future holds. If you wake up every morning with a sense of excitement and expectancy, you expect that the day is going to bring good things, it will. If you expect that the day is going to be crappy, it will. And so always focus on being hopeful and hope for the best in every day and in every situation. Number 5, develop positive self-talk. I have a little mantra that I go through every morning when I get up. I stand in front of the mirror and I read it to myself. And the thing that we need to understand, because a lot of people will say, oh, Gary, that's really silly, but you need to understand a primary concept here, and that is that your mind is programmed by the sound of your voice heard in your own ears. And if your mind is hearing negative things, it's going to think negative thoughts. If your mind hears positive things, it's going to think positive thoughts. So always be aware of that. Be aware of your self-talk, and especially what you verbalize with your mouth. And finally, number 6, which is really, really important for me. It may not be important for you, but it's certainly important for me, and that is to pray without ceasing. My my religious experience is one that says that prayer is not just for sitting at the table and praying before I eat a meal, or kneeling beside my bed and praying before I go to bed. Prayer is, for me, a constant daily conversation with God. I involve God in every aspect of my life and every aspect of my business because I'm looking to Him for guidance and inspiration. And part of that is to having Him help me be positive in my approach to everything. I hope you found this video to be useful. Go put it to work. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.